as Entergy. Under Arkansas law, the Public Service Commission has exclusive jurisdiction to regulate public utilities, including setting rates, terms, and conditions of service, as well as approval for construction of utility projects such as power plants and large transmission lines. And that's part of the Commission's authority. The Commission regulates the rates charged to customers, including any contracts between the utility and an individual customer. As a part of regulating the rates, the Commission ensures that costs are allocated to each rate class in a way that reflects the cost of serving that class. The allocation of cost is intended to ensure that each class of customers pays its cost of service. For contracts, the Commission must find that rates for the customer cover its costs and provide benefits to other customers. The Commission ensures that the rates are just, reasonable, and non-discriminatory, and ensures that each class pays its fair share of the cost of service. And the Commission has a process for reviewing contracts between utilities and individual customers, and that process includes a test to make sure that that contract does result in benefits for other customers, that it covers its costs and provides benefits. The Commission also oversees utility resource planning to make sure that the utilities have adequate resources to serve all of their customers at all times. As Mr. Thompson mentioned earlier, there's an integrated resource plan that the utility prepares on a regular cycle that looks out into the future to make sure that we know that we're meeting the level of demand that's there. And the Public Service Commission relies on those studies in evaluating projects that come in to make sure that we have the resources necessary to meet the load and to provide for room for growth, and that we're doing it in a way that makes sure that rates are just and reasonable and are in the public interest. For large customers, such as data center customers, utilities must ensure that there are adequate resources to serve those customers. And as Mr. Thompson pointed out, Entergy Arkansas does that with each one of those customers. And the track record is there for making sure that we have adequate power and making sure that we have reliable power and that we have affordable power. And that's under the jurisdiction of the Public Service Commission. If we have to construct new power plants, transmission lines, or substations to serve existing customers or new customers, we have to seek approval from the Public Service Commission.
With just the right angle and interrupting
the utility has to demonstrate that the facilities are necessary and in the public interest. We also have to demonstrate that the cost of the facility is reasonable before commencing construction, and must demonstrate again that the costs are reasonable as a part of recovering those costs through rates. The Public Service Commission oversees the construction and the approval beforehand, and they oversee the rates that are charged to customers after the fact. And to make sure that the rates remain reasonable over the life of the assets that are there. All commission filings are open to the public. There's a web page with access to information in each proceeding before the Public Service Commission. Here are the Public Service Commission comment throughout the public comment online.
Heard. But nobody had a chance to say anything about these centers before the deal was already signed. And that's the way it is with all of them. Stupid system. Sorry, folks. Their
planning,
system
quality of
sucks
service,
here.
all of that entire suite of activities is covered there. And so I don't believe that a separate or additional process to oversee utility operations is required. And I'll take questions.
Justice Robinson, you're recognized.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. So, with the PSC, we I guess we discussed Arkansas quite a bit. I know Entergy is in Mississippi, they're in Louisiana, and a little bit in Texas. So, do those states have the same regulatory umbrella that Arkansas has?
Very similar in one difference between in Mississippi and Louisiana, the public service commissioners are elected, and in Arkansas, they're appointed by the governor, and in Texas, they're appointed by the governor, and they serve. In Arkansas specifically, they are appointed to a 6-year term, and they're staggered so that every 2 years, a commissioner's term comes up, and the governor can either reappoint the existing commissioner or appoint a new commissioner into that place. And the current commissioners, 2 of them have been appointed by Governor Sanders. 1 was appointed by Governor Hutchinson. And over time, depending on how long a governor serves, they may appoint 1, they may appoint 2, they may appoint all 3 over the course of their term in office. And that's happened for as long as the Public Service Commission's been around.
Would you say that Arkansas is, we talk about the contracts and we talk about all the overseeing of this infrastructure. Is Arkansas one of the leaders from the other states? Are we mid-tier? Where are we at?
I think in the regulatory construct, we're comparable with other states in the region, and we're comparable with many states nationally as elected in a rates standpoint and a quality of service standpoint. I think Arkansas and the southeastern United States have a lot of advantages over other parts of the country because our rates are affordable and our power is reliable. And you'll see if you look nationally, the southeastern United States has among the lowest rates in the country. And I think you'll also see that states that have a vertically integrated, regulated public utility model in place, such as we have in Arkansas, have more competitive electric rates than states that have introduced some form of competition or choice within the utility space. The statistics will bear out that that's another advantage that the southeastern United States have from a regulatory construct versus some other parts of the country.
So would you say that our infrastructure, with having lower rates,
Oh, come on.
For a real long time. And so I think that you're seeing, effective utility behavior and within the effective regulatory model that's in place here in Arkansas.
Thank you. I yield.
Okay, thank you. Hi, thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
So my question, I'm trying to piece this together. You regulate the companies that provide service to these companies coming in are asking for the service, like the data
The
center?
Public Service Commission does, and I once upon a time was the director of the Public Service Commission. I'm currently an Entergy employee, just so
Okay.
you're clear.
Oh,
But I was speaking on describing the regulatory construct in Arkansas. And
It
yes,
bounces
you
from
are
one
correct. The Public
bureaucracy
Service
to another.
Commission regulates
Wonderful.
utilities such as Entergy here in Arkansas.
so I assume that the Public Service Commission has had conversations with Avio.
I'm not certain that I can't address that. There is a gentleman here tonight from Avio that can talk
Avio.
about
You either
sorry.
have or
interaction
haven't. It's one of the
with,
two.
The Public Service Commission, but the Public Service Commission has a proceeding open now where we have entered into a contract with Avio, and we're seeking Public Service Commission approval of that contract.
So you're seeking approval of the contract, but there is a contract in place,
Yes.
and it's got to go through all the regulation
It has to be
place
approved by the
with the
Service
public
Commission.
service.
Yes, ma'am. And that's real similar to the Google data center in West Memphis. We had a contract with them. We took it to the Public Service Commission for approval, and the Public Service Commission has approved that contract and found that it was in the public interest and provided
Okay.
benefits to customers in Arkansas.
So to kind of piggyback on Justice Robinson's question, where are we with those regulations? Would you say we have strict regulations in place with the surrounding areas on that tier he was?
I think Arkansas's regulatory construct is viewed favorably nationally. I mean, when I was with the Public Service Commission,
folks,
the
I'm gonna have
commission
to
had a
leave the chat
reputation
here
of
for a little
being
bit.
a good and a fair regulatory body relative to some places in the country. Some places were less so than others, but I think that Arkansas has a strong Public Service Commission that represents the state's interest.
Okay. Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
yield. Julie. Oh, he didn't.
Miss Blackwood, you're recognized.
Okay.
It's Groundhog Day.
It's okay. That's all right. Thank you for being here today. We do appreciate you showing up. What I want to know is the PSC, what land use impacts and regulations do the PFC oversee?
The Public Service Commission does not govern land use. That's usually a city government or a county government function. As far as that goes, that's outside of their jurisdiction.
That's exactly what I thought. So you have no control over the land impacts or the regulation or any of that and what's going to happen.
The Public Service Commission would
does
not, but
yeah.
over the other regulatory spaces, if the county has regulations over the land use, that those would apply. If the city within the city, or and then the environmental regulations would be overseen by the Department of Environmental Quality and the Corps of Engineers, and as well as water and air permits would go under those agencies' purview.
Which, okay. And so consequently, we don't know what the impacts are going to be on our land use, and we have no idea what's going to happen to our infrastructure. So if we don't have some kind of moratorium set up and we don't sit down and go over this to make sure that our land use quality is good and that everything goes okay their PSC has no regulations over any of this, and you guys don't either. So
I would disagree with you on that, because you pointed out, or you stated, that there's no knowledge of what the utility infrastructure would be. from the electric utility infrastructure, you've heard from my colleague and you've heard from me that the electric infrastructure is sound and able to take on this and other projects and keep rates low and competitive. You've heard from Mr. Bohannon that the water utility is prepared to take on this and other customers. And so you have information from the people that are involved in those services to speak directly to that. So I would disagree with you on that, and I can speak specifically to the Entergy utility infrastructure to say that we do have the ability to serve this customer as well as our other customers, and to do it in a way that keeps rates competitive and ensures that under the Fair Share Plus pledge that customer is going to pay its cost of service and bring benefits to our other customers.
But once again, this is a pledge.
Actually, it's a contract, as Mr. Thompson pointed out, and as I just answered Justice Medlock, that we have a contract with this customer that includes those provisions. And
but you will never,
the Fair
ever.
Share Pledge Plus is Fair Share Plus pledge is also published, and it has been supported by our CEO and our company president.
That's what scares me. So if we and you tell us we have low rates in our state, we are one of the poorest states in the nation. We are 45th to 49th every year. We are the median income in our state is around 60,000 or lower. The reason our rates are low is because our people can't afford anything else. So they do have to keep, it's kind of like, when you live in California or you live in New York, you've got some higher rates and people make a lot more money. Here, we've got very, very poor people, and we've got a lot of them, and we have the greatest food insecurity, and we are a poor state. So the reason we have low rates is because you probably can't get any more money out of people.
That's incorrect, at least from the electric utility standpoint, is we have low rates because of our long-term planning and our efficient operations of the system that have kept our rates lower than they are in other parts of the country. The rates aren't set based on the income of the customers in the area. They're based on the cost of serving the customers and the facilities that we build and the way that we operate those. And so your premise, as you teed that up, I would respectfully disagree. And I would point out that as Mr. Thompson pointed out, our rates are low in Arkansas because of decisions that were made a long time ago, decisions that are made today, and decisions that are going to continue to be made to keep our rates competitive regionally, nationally. And the Arkansas General Assembly also recently passed legislation that requires that we keep our rates at least 10% below the national average. We're currently 22% below the national average. So I anticipate that we'll be able to meet that challenge.
Right, and I'm glad they are, because our people can't afford anything any more than that. So I'm glad they are lower than they are in other states. But respectively, I've never had anybody that's a monopoly, and that's what you are. You are a monopoly, and we have nobody else to go to. We have nobody else to choose. We have nobody else to pick from. And you are a public utility, but you are a monopoly. And you guys do not have any kind of land use regulation. You guys do not have. You basically can do whatever you want, and you answer, your salaries are outrageous. I am extremely scared of what is going to happen to us if we have this, and we do not have any kind of regulations put on this, and we do not have any kind of, it's very scary for all of us, because we aren't you. We are poor, and we don't have a lot of money. I mean, people may think the people up here make a lot of money, but they don't. It is almost an act of love up here. So, I do say that this is it's a very scary thing for people, and I, do not understand how your promises. I've just never had anybody that promised me any corporation that has promised me something come through.
Well, you mentioned earlier that we are a monopoly. We are under Arkansas law. We are a regulated monopoly. We're fully regulated, and that's what I was talking about previously. The Public Service Commission approves and sets all of our rates and makes sure that our rates are just and reasonable and in the public interest. And as I pointed out in response to Justice Medlock's question, states that have a vertically integrated and fully regulated utility model, as we do here in Arkansas, have lower rates than states that don't. And statistics will prove that out. That's a fact. And so I think that I can feel comfortable in telling you that we can serve these customers and that we will continue to have competitive rates here in Arkansas, and that we can't do whatever we want because we have to go to the Public Service Commission and get approval to build facilities. We have to go to the Public Service Commission and get approval for contracts. We have to go to the Public Service Commission to adjust our rates. And so it's your characterization is incorrect. We are overseen by the Public Service Commission, and we don't get to do whatever we want. And we don't do whatever we want. We do what's in the interest of our customers and help provide low cost, reliable service that's affordable for our customers.
Well, my bill runs over $550 a month, and I have a 2,500 square foot home. So I'm going to tell you, I don't know if that's low cost. And I also want to tell you that if what does the Public Service Commission, what are their obligations? I mean, you say you follow all their rules, but what are their obligations to us as customers?
Their obligations are to ensure that the rates are just and reasonable and in the public interest, and are as low as reasonably possible within the confines of the legal system that's been put in place by the Arkansas General Assembly and the Arkansas and federal court system.
Okay. Okay, I yield.
Justice Medlock, you're recognized.
Thank you. So that kind of brought up another question in my mind. Does the Public Service Commission work with the ADEQ?
They rely on the ADEQ for jurisdiction over things that the ADEQ has responsibility for. If we're building a power plant, they seek input and make sure that the ADEQ has issued all of the environmental regulations that would be necessary for that power plant to operate in compliance with the federal and state environmental regulations, such as air permits, water discharge permits, and other things. Those are all regulated either by the EPA directly for the federal government or the ADEQ as delegated by the EPA. And so the two agencies make sure that both are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And that's part of the resource approval process, is confirmation that the utility, if we're going to build a power plant, then we would have received all of the necessary environmental permits to build and operate that plant.
Thank you. And what's the website that people can go to?
I think it's arkansas.gov/PSC would be the Public Service Commission website. And if that's incorrect, you can Google Arkansas Public Service Commission.
Thank you. I yield.
And that would go through a data center.
Yes. Will, can you tell me, we have an address noise. And so will the backup generators create noise? And how much noise and how much emission are these backup generators going to be creating?
The noise is not something I have knowledge of, or the backup generators would be customer provided. And there's a gentleman here from Avio that could probably talk about what their backup generators are, but I can't address their backup generators.
Okay. Will the concentration of electrical demand alter future land patterns?
That I can't predict how it might alter future land patterns.
Okay.
It may help spur economic development if you have a large economic development project that employs people at competitive salaries. Then that could lead to good growth and development jobs for Arkansans.
But aren't AI centers supposed to get rid of jobs?
Actually, they employ a lot of people and pay them a pretty competitive salary.
Okay.
Based on what the customers have said. And again, there's a gentleman here from Avio that can talk about what their employment efforts are going to be.
Okay. Can you tell me whether the emergency services are capable of handling battery or transformer fires?
I can't speak to the emergency services capabilities. I can point out that there are occasionally transformer fires that have happened for many years, and those are managed very effectively by our personnel in cooperation with the local emergency management folks. So I would assume that that will continue to be the case. That's not a new issue.
Okay. My main question, and I'm sure you can't answer this either. What happens to the community and the landscape because of the infrastructure, because of this infrastructure exists?
What happens?
What happens to our community and our landscape because of this? I mean, what is the impact to our land and our landscape? I'm sure you can't answer that. They'll have to
I don't
talk.
have the answer to that.
You probably couldn't answer that. Okay, I yield.
There's no other questions. Mr. Russell, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
So after talking about the regulatory aspects, the electric, the water, the wastewater, and all of these issues that need to be answered, we actually have a gentleman from Avio with us today. I'm going to bring him forward. His name is Tom Nessel, so that you can actually ask him questions. I will say, and it was mentioned, I just want to clarify, I'm here as the president and CEO of the Little Rock Regional Chamber of Commerce. We have contracts for economic development with people like Little Rock, Maumelle, North Little Rock, and many others. And so I'm not here doing anything other than what I have been hired to do. And it is this low cost electricity, this redundancy and availability, this capacity that continues to help us locate projects that are paying or that have good paying jobs that help increase the wages of all Arkansans, because that rising boat does lift all tides. If we don't have economic development, and you can look at a lot of places across this country that unfortunately don't have that going for themselves, you see what decay begins to look like, not growth. So with that, Tom.
Justices of the peace of the Quorum Court, Judge Hyde, thanks for having me this evening. Members of the community, thanks for coming out. I'm here. I'm a project manager for Avio, and I'd like to just walk through some things that we've done on this project to date. We're here. We want to be good neighbors. We're here to listen. I just want to mention that nothing we've done has been to hide the project from the world. What's been done is pushing this project forward within the regulations as we understood them. So, if you'll allow me, I just wanted to go through some points and then answer your questions. And I'm probably not going to be able to answer them all tonight. So anyway, I thank you for your patience. And if you have follow-up questions, if I can't answer something tonight, I can direct your questions to somebody at our company who can. First off, I want to start with land use. As we understood it coming into this property on 145th Street, there was no zoning regulations in the county. Now, recently, a future land use plan was adopted. That future land use plan actually highlights our project's area as I-1, which specifically calls out data centers as a land use. So as far as the information that I have and the county's future land use plan, we are compliant with that. Secondly, I want to talk about our interactions with the county so far. We do have a site plan that was submitted to the county planning department first in 2024. Near the end, we met with the county planning office in the summer of 2024 to discuss the data center project that we were putting forward. That site plan, which showed the buildings on our site that were data centers, was reviewed, and according to the subdivision and development regulations of the county, it complied. And there are a few permits that we've gotten along the way. So in order to start construction, we had to get a driveway permit from Pulaski County Road and Bridge. That's been acquired. And to answer maybe some of the environmental questions, our stormwater pollution and prevention plan was approved by the Arkansas DEQ. So that regulates, hey, what are you using this land for? Where are you grading? How does that grading affect the water flow on the site? Your plan has to basically put in any mitigation measures to any impacts, and that's regulated by the DEQ, and that's been approved. The last thing we have is a what's called a nationwide permit from the Army Corps of Engineers. We've been working with them. That permit was submitted 6 months ago. That required us to do basically environmental studies of the property, including historical and cultural studies, as well as rare species studies. Those have been complete. And I want to point out our wetland impact, which are, the more environmentally sensitive areas on the site, is 3 culverted stream crossings, right? So basically less than 1/10 of an acre impact. We're going over the streams. We've specifically designed our site plan to minimize the impacts to the wetland areas on our property. So just wanted to point out we've been through those studies and had those touch points. Power's been covered pretty extensively, but we do have an executed electric services agreement with Entergy. We first started talking to Entergy in 2020, early 24. And basically the way our process has worked to date is starting in 2024, they studied the grid. And when they studied the grid, as they mentioned, they look for contingent impacts. So not just what's my impact to the grid, can they serve it? Are the electrons there? What infrastructure is needed? But what happens if something upstream happens or something downstream happens? How does it affect the grid? And so Avio funded those studies, and there were basically 2 sets, and then we began the electric services agreement. That electric service agreement requires us to pay for all interconnection costs associated with the project. So it's executed, and that money has started to go out the door. And I wanted to just make it clear, the only reason Entergy executed that agreement was because they did do the studies and they determined that they could serve the project without negatively impacting the grid, and with us footing the bill for any infrastructure upgrades. As previously mentioned, that is regulated by the Arkansas Public Service Commission. Water, you've heard a lot about water tonight. We've, again, first started talking to Central Arkansas Water in 2024. We had them look at what infrastructure is in place currently at the site. And anyway, we've been talking about it. They've determined and provided us a letter that the existing infrastructure can serve 1 million gallons a day to the project. That would be enough to serve the project's needs as we know them, and more so. And I'll get into the water use a little bit more, but I just want to communicate that we've gone through that process with Central Arkansas Water. We weren't hiding anything. We were trying to communicate clearly and openly. And anyway, so they've provided that will serve for 1 million gallons a day based on the existing infrastructure. So one of the things that Mr. Bohannon brought up was connecting to the west and 4 million gallons a day. So this project and some of the numbers I can share are specific to, basically right now we have a plan for the first 2 buildings. We have a contract executed with Nabholz and Yates Construction to go forward and construct those first 2 buildings. And that 1 million gallons a day is more than sufficient to supply the cooling needs for those first 2 buildings. We have designed a closed loop system, and there's been some questions on that. So the closed loop system is where you have air conditioners in a yard. Those air conditioners, just like at your home, chill water. That water gets piped into the building, and then we have air handlers blow air over that chilled water to cool the building. In an evaporative cooling situation, which was sort of also mentioned, there are 2 loops. That closed loop cooling that exists in the building, where again nothing evaporates, but that heat gets rejected by piping by a separate loop, and that loop pipes separate chilled water to the roof or to wherever, and basically that chiller sucks fresh air through a media and cools the building. Basically, it cools that water loop that cools the building. So in that evaporative cooling situation, that's where the 1 million gallons a day at the absolute peak day would be used. The average demand on a daily basis would be about 200,000 gallons a day. And in the wintertime, it basically doesn't run, so order of magnitude different. What Avio has designed is the closed loop cooling for the first 2 buildings. So instead of the 1 million gallons a day, we're talking about 20,000 to use round numbers. So those 20,000 gallons a day, it's basically for plumbing needs and irrigation needs. So that gets discharged into the sanitary sewer system. That sanitary sewer system goes to 145th Street Sewer District. We have hired 145th Street Sewer District's engineer. They tell us that wastewater treatment plant has more than the capacity needed to serve our sanitary sewer needs. Sorry. Now, if we get an end user that comes along and requires an evaporative loop or evaporative cooling system for that 1 million gallons a day, that's what the will serve allows us to do. That water would require basically treatment and discharge via the Arkansas DEQ. They have a discharge permit process, and that discharge water has to meet certain quality standards. So when we're talking about 20,000 gallons a day for the site, again, for the first 2 buildings we're talking about here, that's about 50 homes or 11 acres of cornfields worth of water in a year, approximately. A couple other points. Just so noise. We have designed the buildings to minimize noise impacts. The cooling system runs whenever it's cold enough to run or whenever it's warm enough to run, which is frequently. And the air conditioners produce noise. Those air conditioners will be placed in a yard, and they will be surrounded by a physical buffer. We have selected for our design low ambient fans on those chillers to keep the noise levels down. Second, a noise emission would be our emergency backup generators. So they only run in large groups when the power goes out. Those generators are enclosed in a building and they're muffled. Avio's buildings, as our approved site plan shows, residential property line is 800 feet from that building. We will maintain the existing vegetated buffer between that building and that property line. We did a noise study based on our plan, and even if the backup generators are running, the noise level at all of our property lines will be under 55 decibels, which is a conversation, And if it's just the air conditioners, for all intents and purposes, you won't be able to hear it if you're not on the property. Those setbacks also allow us not to be seen, so you won't be able to see these buildings from the street. And just a note on fire protection. So we have engineered fire protection systems in the building. There's significant mechanical and electrical infrastructure to power the computers. And the fire suppression system will meet National Fire Protection Agency standards, and insurance requirements also. They will also comply with the most stringent insurance companies' requirements for fire suppression systems. Also want to note about outreach. So we are committed to being a good neighbor. Again, we reviewed the project with the county planning department in mid-2024. We did reach out to our state rep and our state senator in the spring of 25. We did issue a press release about the project in early 2026. And I want to note that in order to get the project far enough along to make it worth conversations with the project, with the public, there's a lot of work streams that have to happen to make it real. We don't want to waste people's time if we don't think the project's viable. And so we have to do a lot of diligence and a lot of work to get the project to a place where we're comfortable making a press announcement about it. After the press release, we did meet with our state rep and a mayor of a local municipality after that. And we are setting up a community advisory group to regularly communicate about the project. So I'd like to just wrap that up. We're committed to being a good neighbor. We're here. We have received county approvals for the project. We have received permits necessary to start construction. Entergy has studied the grid, determined it can serve the project, and we have executed the electric service agreement, and we are required to fund all interconnection costs. Central Arkansas Water has studied its infrastructure and capacity and determined that it can reliably serve the project. 145th Street Sewer District's engineer has also studied the system and determined it can reliably serve the project. So that brings me to a conclusion of the work streams we've been operating on the project. And again, we've been trying to be we've been following the regulations that exist and going through the approval processes as we understood them. So thank you. Take your questions.
Thank you. Justice Davis, I think you were first.
Did the Kinder Morgan pipeline, did that play a role in picking that spot for the data center?
Yes. We viewed it as a potential future development for the project. If we could find a partner that would be interested in developing some other type of generation, that gas line could be useful since it's already in place and on site. If we can find somebody interested in developing it that way.
Okay, I think that's the part that is the scariest part because everyone's focused on energy, which is fine, but it's the noise from the generators and from the natural gas. How far is Daisy Bates from the data center?
I don't know what Daisy Bates is.
I believe it's the school.
Oh, the elementary school. It's about 2 miles.
Okay. 2 miles. So I'm worried about those kids outside playing with just the humming. Can we get a copy of the noise study?
I'm not sure what the best avenue to do that is, but we can definitely share the noise study information. Yes. And I'd like to point out that our closest neighbor is a steel galvanizing facility and that exists between us and the school. There are other uses of property between us and in our neighboring area that are heavy industrial. That could also, it's also next to the highway. So there are other noise generating uses in the area, but I'm not taking your question lightly. I understand what you're saying, and we can absolutely share the noise study conclusions. Yes.
Yes, I'm not trying to paint you guys as the boogeyman. As our roles are to do our due diligence to serve our community. So
Understood.
that is all.
Yeah.
And then the wastewater. So at first it will be taken care of, but then it can later on be taken care of on site. Is that correct? Is that what you said?
What I said was the sanitary sewer needs. So from the plumbing fixtures, basically, that can be handled by 145th Street Sewer. So that is where that is going. If there is a client that demands evaporative cooling, that will mean that some of that 1 million gallons a day needs to be discharged. That cannot go to the wastewater treatment plant. That will be treated on site and discharged.
Where will it be discharged?
It will be discharged on site in accordance with a permit from the DEQ. So we'll have to treat it to the DEQ standards in order to discharge it on site.
Okay. And my last question is, will the natural gas only be used for backup power?
No. I'll say we don't have approval to use the gas now at all. So that would be a future development.
Okay. Thank you. I yield.
Justice Ward.
Thanks for being here. Question. When you're looking for sites, what are some of the things that you have on your checklist?
Yeah. One is, I guess the first one is, can we have basically minimal impact environmentally on the site? Can we completely avoid wetlands? What's the topography of the site? The second is power. Can we talk to the utility to see if there is a substantial amount of power that's on the grid now that's not being utilized that we can go into? We don't specialize in going into places that need a lot of power infrastructure to be built to serve the project. Then we also look at water. What's the water source? Is it groundwater? Is it surface water? Is it recycled water? Here, the municipality serves water from surface water, which means we don't have to go into the ground aquifers. So those are probably the initial highlights. And then we look at, okay, what's the land use regulations that are in place now? Are data centers an allowed use, or are they not? And what would it take to have them be an allowed use?
Okay. My next question. Have you ever picked a location, but because of the community concerns, you backed out of it?
So far, no.
Okay.
So far, we've been able to work with communities to get them supportive of the projects.
Okay. Next question. Could you educate us on the purpose of this data center? What's the purpose of it?
So we are, I'll just point out, we're a developer and we will lease space in this building to a larger scale user. So I'm not Google, I'm not Meta, I'm not Amazon Web Services, but hopefully a company such as that will be a tenant in the data center. So they will provide, those will be the end users of the buildings. They will install the computing equipment, and what they typically use it for, such as AWS, just don't, I'm not an AWS person, but in general, we all use them every day. Right now, we're in a meeting that's being recorded and broadcast. I have documents that I'm reading to you. You guys have documents on here. All of that stuff has to live on the cloud. That cloud is a physical space. Some of us use AI operations. Some of us use Google search and use the AI function. That all passes through data centers. Same thing in a bit on why there's backup generators in the first place is these are viewed as mission critical facilities, so that when you go make a transaction on your debit card to buy gas, or if your doctor needs to pull up your medical records, to use a couple examples, those can't be down. My computer can't be off. It has to be on. And so that's why we install backup generators at the facilities. But to your point, we all use them every day.
Okay. So this data center wouldn't primarily serve Arkansas. It could serve any state.
The jobs on the facility, the tax revenue generated by the facility would serve the local area. But in terms of the specific use cases, typically they there's a latency effect. So the farther you are away physically from a data center, the longer it takes to transmit. So typically these companies like to serve the needs as close to the data center as they can. But yeah, they can serve nationally. Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you for not making me feel dumb about it. And I want to invite you to the community meeting as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Justice Robinson, I think you were next.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. So I have heard, I guess, that the building may be a LEED certified building. Is that correct?
Yes, we design all of our buildings to LEED Silver standards.
Okay, and I guess, if people don't know what that means, can you please explain what the LEED is?
Yeah, it's an official certification process where basically it's meant to be a third party where I design my facility to meet certain power efficiency requirements. How well insulated is my building so that it doesn't leak heat in the wintertime or leak air conditioning in the summertime. So basically, the more efficient you design the building, you're eligible for a LEED accreditation.
Okay, yeah, and LEED, for those that don't know, is Leadership in Energy and Efficiency, and it is a U.S. global accreditation.
Yes.
So, but that is what you all. That is what.
Yeah, and to talk about a few more points, like we're paying attention and we're trying to be as efficient as possible. Obviously, the power demand of the facility is very large, but the way we've planned it, we've put solar panels on the roof to offset the power demands of the administration part of the building. So the part where everybody is going to work, not where the computers are, that has to be lit, air conditioned, etc. And so our intent is we've designed the facility such that the solar on site can provide the power to the administration portion of the building. We're also doing things like capturing the rainwater. So, when it rains, we want to use that water. We're sending it to a tank, and then we're using that for our irrigation system to cut down on the water numbers I shared earlier. We're also, we have a consultant on board who's going to install, for example, beehives on the site to enhance the pollinators and hopefully make some honey out of it. But anyway, we're paying attention to environmental concerns, and we're trying to be as efficient as we can be.
Do you know if have y'all received that certification yet, or is it still in the application phase?
No, we don't get that. We don't get that certification until the construction is complete.
Okay, thank you. I yield.
Justice Pearson, I think you were next.
Thank you for being here. Can you make your ADEQ report public and put on your website?
The stormwater pollution and prevention plan.
Whatever ADEQ gave you. There y'all went through completed that study.
I think it is public. I haven't checked their website, but it's probably. I can, yes.
Good. Okay, cool. End users. You brought up end users, and you brought up some examples: AWS, Google. Will they make a contract with you, or will they have to talk to these stakeholders that came before us today as well?
They will make a contract with me, and they will most likely step into my contract with Entergy, most likely, or they'll go through us. It's just kind of a contracting mechanism at that point.
Okay. Will that? Do you have built into your contract any leeway if company X want to come in and they ask for more power or more resources than you may have thought of, that you may have perceived, or
No, we can only contract for the power that we have signed an agreement for.
Got it. Oh, your agreement with
Entergy.
Got it. All right. So what happens if Avio scales down or closes its doors? Do you have something in your contract, your current contract, that dictates who is on the hook for that if that happens?
More or less, yes. Basically, tenants will be required to pay rent, and if they cancel, there's cancellation terms that will require them to foot certain costs.
So if Avio says, "Hey, business is not booming, we're closing our doors," then you're on the hook, or your end users on the hook.
They would be the ones dictating to close the doors. We would never close the doors if they were using the facility, and we would only close if they dictated to us to close.
Okay. I yield.
Justice Blackwood, you're recognized.
Okay, so you're excuse me, you're a privately owned company. And I wonder why you do not list your investors.
Certain investors, I think, prefer to. I'm not a financial guy, so I'll caveat that with what you will. But certain investors don't like to be disclosed.
Right. So you do not disclose your investors, which is a little bit scary. And you're not. You are saying that you will pay for everything, and everything's going to be on you, and you're not going to make us pay for anything. But are you getting tax incentives?
Again, not an expert on the financials, but
that should be yes or no.
The project may be eligible for state tax incentives or local tax incentives if we meet certain employment requirements and certain investment requirements. And so if we do, we plan to pursue them. Yes.
Okay. Have you talked to anybody about tax incentives yet?
I believe we have. Yes.
Okay. What about sales tax exemptions?
I believe we have talked to the Arkansas EDC about that.
Yeah, so you get that too. What about expediting your permitting procedures?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay. And what about any of the utility agreements with Entergy? Have you made special utility agreements with Entergy?
No.
Okay, so you're going to pay full price to Entergy for whatever you're doing.
As far as I'm aware.
Okay. So it looks like,
and I'll just say a note on the tax. Like, I believe the quick math that we've done is, even if we got the maximum incentives, right, the first two buildings alone, on a property tax basis for Avio's improvements would be about $6.7 million a year. And then with our tenants, that would be about $10.5 million a year. And that's if the incentives were captured.
Right. It looks
80%
like
80% of that going to the school district. About.
It looks like, you could actually, it says you could go into a $6 billion phase. You could go as much as that at some point.
Yes, there's definitely significant future development opportunity.
Right, that's what I was thinking. So what is your reason then for picking Arkansas? If you don't know if you're going to get tax incentives, if you don't know if you're going to get any kind of benefits, what's your reasoning for picking Arkansas?
I think it would go back to my initial site selection criteria that I talked with Justice Ward about. Generally speaking, the site is developable with minimal impacts to the environment. There's power on the grid without exorbitant infrastructure needed to serve it. There's water in the lines. And the land use, at least as it's written right now, is compliant for data centers.
So it doesn't have to do with any kind of money that's being involved at all. It just is that you like Arkansas and it looks like a good place, and you got
Little Rock Chamber, right, has been very supportive. They've brought us in, showed us that sorry, just a little distracted by the noise for a second. But generally speaking, the reason we got here is because of the things that I've listed. If we can capture some incentives, that would be a bonus, certainly.
Right, because there are a lot of them being put in the South. There's a ton of data centers being set up in the South. And what about light pollution?
Yeah, our facilities are dark sky compliant, so
Okay.
that's a national standard. It basically minimizes our lighting and directs all light downward so that it helps minimize the light pollution.
Can you give us an analysis on that so that we know what the light pollution will be?
Yeah, I believe our lighting plan is part of the site plan submission, and we can share that.
Okay, thank you. Also, what about the sewer rates? You said you're going to do the 145 street sewer. Will they go up? Will our sewer rates go up? Or are they locked in that you're going to pay for everything and we will definitely never, and you have a contract saying that legally we will never have to pay any higher sewer rates?
I don't have a contract. No utility's ever going to get us a contract that says legally they'll never be able to lift rates. But generally speaking, what I know as the project manager is there's an existing sewer line on the site that goes, that the half mile or so to the wastewater treatment facility, and there's no infrastructure upgrades that are required to serve the project.
Okay, thank you. I yield.
Justice Capps, I think you were next.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate your time. You mentioned 2 buildings in the initial phase. What is the full capacity of the project, building-wise?
Across the 760 acres, there could be 15 buildings, approximately.
You also talked about an end user that requires evaporative cooling. Can you describe that a little bit more, please, for an example?
Yeah, I mean, just to recap, right now our base system is air cooled, and that's what we're working with several potential end users on. If somebody does require evaporative cooling, that goes back to the other system. I can't speak to what customers might require which system, so I don't know if I'm answering your question. If you could steer me a little bit.
So is it computer or data center dependent, like depending on what kind of technology they're using, what kind of cooling they require?
No, it's really just whether they want to be more power efficient or want to be more water efficient, and they would have set that standard for their company prior to talking to me. Okay. So they would prefer to keep as they have for their other buildings, let's say.
Okay. And is there any type of decommission plan for the project? I'm concerned that it's so vast, and if the world changes and we no longer need these data centers, we used to have huge computers and now they're in our hands. If the world changes, is there anything in place to decommission it for environmental, community, things like that?
Yeah, so we've been focused on commissioning, but generally speaking, right now, we have the power contract with Entergy for a certain amount of power that lights those first 2 buildings, and so there's a lot of work that will have to go into growing the site, and that will only happen if it's commercially viable. So if there's a tenant that takes the first 2 buildings, might want more, then we would go through all the processes. About 2 buildings, we have to connect further west and pay for that infrastructure upgrade. If we want more power from Entergy, we have to pay for those infrastructure upgrades. And so there's a lot of work that will go into building those 15 buildings that we're not there yet. And so that's what we're focused on. And the only reason more buildings would be added to the site is if it's commercially viable in the long run. Our leases would be on the order of 20 years. So we're talking about relatively long-term business deals to make these projects viable.
Is decommissioning something your company ever plans for?
So right now in the industry, it's the demand is very high, and so decommissioning has not been a focus. but something we're certainly willing to entertain to talk about, especially with the community advisory board we're setting up. We don't have those plans quite ready, but it's something we can develop over time.
Thank you. I yield.
Okay, thank you. Hi, thank you for being here and answering questions. So I have a variety of questions, so just bear with me.
Okay.
Can you paint a picture of this property? How many acres and what that looks like?
Yes, basically think of it as two swaths, really. One is up kind of two hands, right? One is up here. It's adjacent to Interstate 530. And one is down here and it connects to 145th Street. And it's kind of what's running between them is the pipeline we were talking about, just for spatial relations. So this is about 300 acres and this is the remaining of the 760 up here.
Okay, so 760 acres.
Mm-hmm.
And is it wooded? There's a pine tree forest.
It's
on the
wooded.
property?
There's pine trees. It's been historically used as timber harvesting operations. So some of it's hardwood, some of it's pine stands.
And you'd mentioned a barrier. Are you referring to the trees?
Yes.
So how many acres are going to remain wooded with timber?
I'm just trying to do the math in my head. So we have basically 300 acres on the lower hand. We'll be disturbing about 70 acres of that, and some of that we'll be replanting the trees on. So about 100.
70 acres for the buildings, and the rest trees.
Basically, yes.
The rest of the
300.
300.
Yes.
Okay, that's a lot of trees.
Similar proportion will be on the northern part of the site.
Okay. And I mean, of course, trees do recreate the air and work as a noise buffer.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, and you may not know the answer to this, do you know what this property was intended for to be used as before you purchased it?
Like I said, I mean, based on the historical studies we've had, a long time ago it was agricultural, and then I can't remember exactly the duration, but it switched to timber harvesting, and it's largely used for hunting.
So it was something useful, and now it's being used for a data center.
And it sounds like you have gone through a lot of studies and regulations thus far to date.
Yes.
With the ADEQ,
With the Yep, go
or
ahead.
the DEQ. I'm sorry.
Yeah, ADQ, Arkansas DEQ.
Yeah.
Yep.
The LEED certified program that you were talking about.
Mhm.
Is that it's obviously a more extensive study regulated type program that you get certification for? I guess I'm asking, what does that look like as far as additional regulations, and is there a cost to that?
Yeah. So there's a cost to that. In our engineering team, we have LEED certified engineers, and so they vet the design to make sure it's compliant with the design standards. On our construction management team, we will have LEED accredited personnel. They'll review and make sure, as constructed, it meets the LEED requirements.
LEED design
and then
is code
we'll be
for
subject
getting
to
it from China
special
instead of the
inspections to get the final accreditation. And we have to obviously pay for those things.
Okay. I like the thing about the bees. Tell me a little bit more about that. That's the first I'd heard about this.
Yeah, we've hired a consultant. He's got a PhD in bees, and I can introduce him to you. He'd probably speak a lot better about it to me, but basically we're bringing a hive on site shortly and establishing a few hives. And they'll help pollinate the area in general.
That's interesting.
And it's already been
And the solar
listed as a
panels
scam.
are just for the administrative part of the building.
Basically, the math
sometimes
is
increased
all of the
construction
solar
costs
panels
up
on the
as
roof
10%.
will power
Of course,
the
these people
administrative
don't care.
portion of the building. Yes,
So
because
the solar panels are only going to be on the roof.
that's the plan. If a tenant required it, we would consider putting solar panels on the ground if it helped their cause. But right now, the plan is on the roof. Yes.
Okay. All right. Let me make sure I have all my questions. I'm assuming you probably picked Arkansas because you found 760 acres. Also,
We started off with about the 300 and then grew it because we did like what we were working with, both on like I said, on the environmental, on the power, and on the and then on the land use front. So we started with 300 and we grew.
so here's another question: how many projects do you actually have in place across the nation, and how successful are they, and how big are they?
My knowledge is probably adept to this and maybe one other of our projects, but we have 4 projects moving forward across the U.S. of similar size to this one.
Where are they at?
California, Mississippi, and Virginia.
How many acres are they on?
100 to 650.
I think this
Okay.
guy is
Just
trying
curious.
to be boring.
I believe that's all my questions.
So
Thank
people
you.
just-
I yield.
Give up.
Justice Blackwood, I think you're next.
Yes. We've talked about how.
Would you either pull the mic down or move towards?
Oh, I'm
compliance
sorry.
has
I'm
been
sorry.
a
Please excuse me.
scam for a
We've talked
long
about how
time. This is
large
from
the
the Daily
investment was going to
Caller.
be, and
From
but
2014.
what I want to know is what portion of the investment remains taxable, and for how long, and does it
See,
exceed the
LEED timber
long-term public
certification excludes
infrastructure burden?
3/4 of America's forest. Over 90% comes from
I
overseas.
might need some help
so that's
answering
what
that
LEED
question. If you
compliance
could
actually
email
is.
it to me, I could get it answered for you.
It's been a
because
scam
I don't
for
know the answer to
decades.
that.
You don't? Okay.
So when somebody brags about LEED
That's
compliance,
all I've got. Thank you.
you know
I
that
yield.
they're lying to you.
So
Here's a link
this
to
might
that
be a good
article.
time to say that members that have questions
So there you go.
that you may come up with later, or someone may send you later.
So
why don't
I
you
don't know
send
if
those to in the next week? Send those to Justin, and Justin, you can compile them. I'm not asking you to edit them or anything else. Just compile them, and we'll get contact information through the Greater Chamber and get answers to those questions for you all. That way, it's one centralized place, and we can track if they get answered. Justice Lewison, you're recognized for a question.
Thank you for coming, by the way. I know that you're loving to stand up here this long. So
problem.
you mentioned that there's a community advisory board.
Yes, we're setting that up. Yep.
So I just want to know who's on it and how are they appointed?
So it's basically just been, so far, we've been in our conversations with the people we've been exposed to locally. We've invited a few people. Representative Ennett has been invited. The mayor of Wrightsville has been invited. The overseer of the 145th Street Sewer District has been invited. We attended the planning board meeting earlier today, and would like somebody from that group to be a part of that. And we're open to more people joining for sure. And we're trying to have our first meeting in 2 weeks from today.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, sweetie.
That Donna, is your light broken too? Miss Massey, you are recognized for the questions.
Thank you. My question is, the property next to your property, is it a lot of woods next to your area? Because you mentioned there's a lot of hunting that's taking place on that property now, and once you start to build, what's going to happen to I guess, to the animals, the deer or what have you, that's there now?
So yeah, it's a wooded property to start, and the hunting has ceased, and we have done surveys for rare species habitat and rare species presence, and we haven't found any of significance. And it's been reviewed by the Army Corps of Engineers to make sure we're compliant with all the Fish and Wildlife Service standards. But in terms of the deer, they would not be able to walk across the data center site. But in general, the wooded area on the site that would remain, they'd still have access to.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have a broken light and wanted to ask a question? Justin, I appreciate if you'll turn that into general services as well. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You've been a great help.
Thank you all. I hope I've answered your questions. And like I said, we're here, and we're ready to answer more. And if I haven't been able to answer some tonight, I apologize and look forward to interacting more. Thank you.
Judge, I've got some handouts here.
Thank you.
Jody.
Yeah.
Opposite way, I think.
Thank you.
There, I don't.
Oh, the same one.
Yeah, it goes all the way to the end, please. There you go.
So that's just some information that you can also find on the website. I would call your attention, Justice Medlock, to the second page of this, and you will see, and we can get you the larger version. You can see what the proposed site plan layout would be in that bottom left-hand picture. So you can see what the buildings will look like from the perspective of those pictures as well. Again, I know that we all want certainty, and I can tell you that from an economic development perspective, and I appreciate the questions about why here, why Arkansas, and the answer is, and I can unequivocally state this, in this world, no amount of incentives will make a bad site good. I want to restate that. No amount of incentives will make a bad site good, which is why from the incentive aspect of the discussion, we never even get into that until the company has made the decision. It's between us and typically a couple of other folks. We're competitive, but we're not going to be the largest offerer of incentives because, as Justice Blackwood has stated many times, we're not the most wealthy state in America. And our goal is to become a much more wealthier state. We can't create a scenario by which certainty will also preclude things going up. I know you folks have a really difficult job. Every 2 years when the reassessment process happens, I don't know what's happened to your property tax rates, but my bill's gone way up. And it's fair because it's being equitably applied across your homes, your properties, as well as mine. So we can't ever guarantee that something's not going to go up because we're in the midst of approving the going up every other year. What we can do, though, is we can look at a project like this, and if you turn to that back page, we can look at if the project were to fully develop at the $6 billion number that the company has provided, that those 15 buildings would equal to. You can see from just this project, does not include the project at the port, but from just this project, what that would equate to in terms of county revenue, the library, the hospital, the road fund, and in my opinion, most importantly, the Pulaski County Special School District. When you look at over $24 million $24 million of new money coming into the Pulaski County School District to help educate our kids, to give them better resources, better buildings, teachers better pay. We can go on and on and on. This truly becomes an opportunity for the future that will allow our young folks, and as Tad said, his 20-year-old son and his children, an opportunity to make a life here in Pulaski County while we're obviously creating new careers. So with that, we appreciate, I know this went a lot longer than many of you wanted, and I certainly understand, but it's really important that we answer the questions that people have with factual information so that as additional questions come up, we can also have the opportunity to answer those. In meeting with Justice Ward, as you've heard, we've offered to come to meetings in her ward and have these same conversations. I live in Western Pulaski County. I'll go anywhere in the county that you guys want to have a meeting and have this conversation. So we will do that because it's the right thing to do for our citizens to have all of the information, understanding especially that the regulatory bodies are doing their work as we speak. So Judge Hyde, members of the Quorum Court, thank you for your time this evening, and we look forward to talking with you soon.
Jay, Mr. Dessel, Ventrell, Mr. Bethel, thank all of you for taking the time to come and spend with us tonight, and thanks all of our citizens that have come out to hear from y'all and answer these questions. Without objection, I'm going to recess for 10 minutes. A lot of these folks, our guests, I think, are probably going to leave. You've probably come for the part, or the part is done that you might have come for, but it'll also give all of us a chance to stand up and stretch our legs for just a few moments. So I have currently 8:43. So at 8:53, we'll sit back down. We'll gavel back in for our business section. If everybody will please take their seats. I'll remind you, in case you turned your phones back on, please silence them once again. I'm sure there's a lot of important conversations going on, and so please move to the hallway for those. Madam Clerk, we're back on the record. Okay. Members, in your packets this week. Oh, hers not on. Thank you.
I just wanted to acknowledge, yes, I wrote the time down. Thanks.
Very good. Going back to our agenda, in your package, you had the minutes from our last meeting. Hopefully you've had time to read them, and when someone's ready, I'll accept a motion to adopt. Members, you've heard the motion, you've heard the second. Are there any additions or deletions to the minutes from our last meeting? There being none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll for the acceptance or the adoption of last month's meeting.
Ms. Metlow.
Minutes.
Mr. Elliott. Mr. Stowers. Mr. McCoy. Mr. Robinson. Mr. Baker. I'm sorry. I'm tired. Miss Young Baker, my apologies. Miss Ward.
Yes.
Mr. Keith.
Yes.
Miss Curry. Miss Massey. Mr. Person. Miss Blackwood. Miss Lewison. Miss Capps. Miss Davis. 15 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you all for approving minutes. And Madam Clerk, now, when you're ready, please give us the committee report.
I have 3 committee reports. May 26, 2026, to the presiding officer of the Pulaski County Quorum Court, we, your committee of the agenda, to whom was referred items 26I 28, 26I 29, beg leave to report we've had the same under consideration and herewith return the same with a recommendation of due pass. Respectfully submitted, Curtis A. Keith, Chair. May 26, 2026, to the presiding officer of the Pulaski County Quorum Court, we, your committee of the agenda, to whom was referred items 26I, 27A, beg leave to report we've had the same under consideration and herewith return the same with the recommendation of due pass as amended. Respectfully submitted, Curtis A. Keith, Chair. May 26, 2026, to the presiding officer of the Pulaski County Quorum Court, we, your committee of the agenda, to whom was referred items 26I 31, 26I 32, 26I 33, 26I 34, beg leave to report we've had the same under consideration and herewith refer these items to the Pulaski County Planning Board, Pulaski County Quorum Court for further consideration and recommendation. Respectfully submitted, Curtis A. Keith, Chair.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Any unfinished business? There being none, we move on to new business. Madam Clerk, please read for us Resolution 26I-35.
A resolution regarding regulation of high-intensity digital infrastructure facilities in unincorporated areas of Pulaski County. You said 32?
Wait a minute.
What did he? I'm sorry.
What did I say?
I thought he said 32. Okay. Then
I've got 26I-35. Is that correct?
Okay.
We had a mix up in the agendas and the ordinances earlier today, and I
have it. I just
wanted to make
was
sure
not
they're
in the
corrected.
order of him calling it.
So apparently they mixed yours up too. Are we got it all right now?
Yes, I have it. My apologies.
So, Madam Clerk, now will you read for us Resolution
26I-35?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. A resolution expressing the willingness of Pulaski County to partner with the City of Maumelle and the Arkansas Department of Transportation for the following project: Interstate 40, Highway 365 interchange improvements, and Highway 365 widening.
Justice Stowers, you're recognized for the motion.
Move for the adoption.
Second.
Members, you've heard the motion. You've heard the second. Does anyone have any comments or questions regarding Resolution 26I-35? There being none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll for the adoption of Resolution 26I-35.
Ms. Davis, Ms. Capps, Ms. Lewison, Ms. Blackwood, Mr. Person, Ms. Massey, Ms. Curry, Mr. Keith, Ms. Ward, Ms. Young Baker, Mr. Robinson, Mr. McCoy, Mr. Stowers. I'm sorry, Mr. Stowers, what'd you say? Mr. Elliott, Ms. Metlock, 14 ayes, 1 absent.
Madam Clerk? Are you going to give us the tally of that vote?
14 ayes, 1 absent.
Well, I wasn't paying attention apparently.
I didn't hear
Congratulations, Justice Stowers. You passed your resolution. Madam Clerk, read for us now Resolution 26I-36.
A resolution expressing the willingness of Pulaski County partner with the Arkansas Department of Transportation for the following project: perform pavement preservation work on Highway 386 from Highway 365 to Highway 834 before transferring ownership to the county.
Justice Ward, you're recognized for the motion.
Move for the adoption.
Second.
You've heard the motion. You've heard the second. Is there any comments or questions regarding Resolution 26I-36? There being none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll for the adoption of Resolution 26I-36.
Ms. Metlock?
Aye.
Mr. Elliott?
Yes.
Mr. Stowers?
Yes.
Mr. McCoy?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Aye.
Ms. Young Baker? Ms. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Keith?
Yes.
Ms. Curry?
Aye.
Ms. Massey?
Aye.
Mr. Person?
Yes.
Ms. Blackwood?
Aye.
Ms. Lewison?
Yes.
Ms. Capps?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
15 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Justice Ward, congratulations. You passed your resolution 26I-36. Madam Clerk, now when you're ready, read for us, please, ordinance 26I-27 as amended.
Lots of paper over here. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm trying to make sure that I have the. Okay. An ordinance to establish quarterly meetings of the Pulaski County Planning Board to promote community engagement in regard to land use policies and for other purposes.
Justice Person, you're recognized for the motion.
Move. What? What time is it? About 10:30 at night. I'm about to say move to send a do pass.
No, move for the adoption.
Move for the adoption.
Members, you've heard the motion. You've heard the second. And the 10 o'clock news will be on in just a few minutes. Are there any questions or comments regarding ordinance 26I-27 as amended?
I'm hitting my button.
And so Justice Davis has broken her light too. You're recognized.
Thank you. I appreciate that my fellow JPs wanted to have a compromise, but this is not it. It does not specify that certain things have to be addressed at the quarterly meeting as opposed to the other meetings. So what would prohibit the planning board from saving all development, what have you, for the 2:00 meeting and not the 5:30? This is not the compromise. If it gets voted in, luckily we'll have a new judge who can hopefully change the time so that the community can be involved. So thank you. I yield.
Any other questions? Wave your hand. Ms. Curry, you're recognized.
I do want to thank the planning board for providing us a detailed listing by JP district that does help us to have a better idea on what's on those agendas. And we know that we didn't totally compromise, but this is better than some of the things we had in the past as far as informing the quorum court members. Thank you. I yield.
Any other questions?
Yes, my light's not working.
Someone turned off all the lights, I
Yeah,
guess.
okay.
Justice Blackwood, you're recognized for a question.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, because I think Aaron had brought this up last time, and I just wanted to clarify something, because he said, does he have to wait until quarterly meetings to get certain things passed? So I was wondering how big, each infrastructure thing has to be put onto the quarterly meetings, because I just didn't know whether, people that are doing construction, do they have to wait till the quarterly meetings to get things passed, or would it be done during every meeting?
Is that a
Can
question?
can anyone answer this for me? I don't know if there's anybody here.
So this is not the agenda meeting. This is the quorum court meeting. So it's really just among us here. And I feel confident that if there's a important issue or a hot issue and someone request that quarterly meeting be held in this month because this issue is being debated, and it's done in a reasonable amount of time where people can plan for the later meeting, I don't think that's going to be a big problem. I think that we can work together on those things and work them out. And I'll just throw this out there as a wild supposition, I suppose. If we were in Washington County or Sebastian County, or I think Jefferson County as well, we might consider, like they do, having a subcommittee of 3 to 5 people who provide that oversight and input to the Public Works Department. And there might be another one that would provide that oversight and engagement with the parks, our parks organization within Public Works. That is common, and that's really where the court's power is in those subcommittees. So I just throw that in there.
Thank you. He had mentioned that, and I had a confusion on that, so I just was wanting to know. Thank you.
10 o'clock news will be on in a minute.
And I'm sorry.
You're recognized.
Yes, I just want to point out that in the ordinance states, Quorum Court believes quarterly meetings held outside of normal business hours will promote community engagement regarding land use matters. During our agenda meeting, we made it clear that in regards to land use, land use ordinances, those meetings will be held at the quarterly meeting. Okay. It says it in the
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Are you?
Any other questions? Madam Clerk, please
I have
call
a
the
question.
roll.
I have a question. Where does it say in the ordinance that only land use will be spoke about at the quarterly meetings? It says it can be. It doesn't say it has to be.
No, yeah, I did not say that. I didn't say what you said. I was just reading about when we came and spoke when planner was here. That's exactly what we talked about.
It's not in there.
At our agenda meeting.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll for the adoption of ordinance 26I-27 as amended.
Ms. Davis,
No.
Ms. Capps,
Aye.
Ms. Lewis,
No.
Ms. Blackwood,
No.
Mr. Person,
Aye.
Ms. Massey,
Aye.
Ms. Curry,
Aye.
Mr. Keith,
No.
Ms. Ward,
Yes.
Ms. Young Baker,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Present.
Mr. McCoy,
No.
Mr. Stowers,
Yes.
Mr. Elliott,
Yes.
Medlock,
Aye.
nine ayes, 5 noes, nays, and 1 present.
Justice Person, you failed to pass your 26I-27 as amended. Madam Clerk, now read for us ordinance 26I-28.
An ordinance amending ordinance 25 OR 52, 2026 annual budget, Pulaski County, Arkansas, to appropriate road and bridge funds for various projects.
Justice Stowers, you're recognized for the motion.
Move for the adoption.
Aye.
Members, you've heard the motion, you've heard the second. Are there questions or comments regarding 26I-28?
Question.
Justice Ward, you're recognized.
Yes, my question is basically I had a question as far as these listed projects. Are these all the projects that are going to be, that the monies are going to be appropriated for?
No.
The 9 projects that's on here?
So I'll take that. No, there's several smaller projects, like the improvements that we discussed at College Station Elementary School.
Okay, because I got beat up by my constituents because I voted no, and I didn't see College Station on here. So now it's going to be thrown in there.
So no, it's not now. It's the what you're doing is appropriating. You're really not voting on each project, just like in the budget year. You won't vote on each project. Project selection is at the authority of the county judge. The transportation is a special area where the county judge is given the authority to make those decisions of projects. So because these didn't get appropriated in the budget season last year is why we're providing that general explanation of what the projects are.
Okay, so this wording means nothing. That the Quorum Court acknowledges that the following projects will be funded upon adoption of this ordinance, and it only has 9 items. So we're saying that we're going to throw in some small projects.
I'm saying that it also includes other projects as well.
Okay. Well, like I said, I got beat up because I didn't know that College Station, I didn't see College Station. That's why I didn't vote for it.
Well, I'm College Station is clear that it's on there now, and I hope that you'll vote for it.
Okay.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the adoption of ordinance 26I-28.
Ms. Medlock,
Aye.
Mr. Elliott,
Yes.
Mr. Stowers,
Yes.
Mr. McCoy,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Aye.
Ms. Young Baker,
Yes.
Ms. Ward,
College Station, yes.
Mr. Keith,
Yes.
Ms. Curry,
Aye.
Ms. Massey,
Aye.
Mr. Person,
Yes.
Ms. Blackwood,
No.
Yes.
Capps,
Aye.
Ms. Davis.
No.
13 ayes, 2 nays.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Justice Stowers, you passed your ordinance 26I-29.
28.
So that was 28.
I'm sorry, I jumped two. I'm sorry. You did pass 28, and Madam Clerk, now read for us, please, 26I-29.
An ordinance amending ordinance 17 OR-12 Pulaski County Personnel Policy as amended to make technical corrections in accordance with Act 848 of 2025 to comply with the recommendations of the Arkansas Association of Counties.
Justice Stowers, you're recognized for the motion.
Move for the adoption.
Members, you've heard the motion, you've heard the second. Are there any questions or comments regarding ordinance 26I-29? There being none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll for the adoption of ordinance 26I-29.
Ms. Davis.
Yes.
Justin's trying to get your attention.
Stand by, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Chairman, this is a regular ordinance. It's not an emergency ordinance, so this is just first reading.
Okay, well, thanks for letting me know that in advance. So the ordinance is placed on first reading, and that moves us to the late filing. I will recognize a motion to suspend the rules to hear a late filing.
Make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Members, you've heard the motion, you've heard the second. This is non-debatable motion, I believe. So, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the motion that's on the floor now to suspend the rules for a late filing.
Okay, let's see here. Ms. Davis.
Yes.
Ms. Capps.
Aye. Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Blackwood.
Yes.
Mr. Person.
Yes.
Ms. Massey.
Aye.
Ms. Curry.
Aye.
Mr. Keith.
Yes.
Ms. Ward.
Yes.
Ms. Young Baker.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Present.
Mr. McCoy.
Yes.
Mr. Stowers.
No.
Mr. Elliott.
No.
Ms. Medlock.
Aye.
Well, 12 ayes, 1 present, 2 nays.
The motion to suspend the rules is passed. Madam Clerk, please read for us ordinance 26I-37.
An ordinance imposing a temporary moratorium on the acceptance, processing, and approval of applications for development, construction, or siting of data centers within the unincorporated areas of Pulaski County.
Who is the sponsor on this? Justice Davis, you're recognized for the motion.
I move for the adoption.
As you've heard the
No.
did I get a second there?
Second.
You've heard the motion, you've heard the second. Are there comments or questions regarding 26I-37?
Justice Curry.
Curry.
Justice Curry, you're recognized for a question.
Yes, thank you. I would like for our attorney to come forth and share a letter that we've got from the Attorney General on an opinion.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you come forth and share that?
I've provided a copy of it to each member of the Quorum Court.
Thank you. So what I want to clarify, in this particular opinion, it states distinctly on a question that was asked back in November of 23. If a city or county does not have a digital assets mining operation functioning in their city or county, can they prevent permitting or building of a digital asset mining operation through ordinances. It distinctly says, no, a city or county cannot prevent a new digital asset mining operation through an ordinance that bans digital asset mining, because cities and counties have only the power given to them by the Constitution or statute. Local ordinances that conflict with state law are invalid.
That's correct.
Just wanted to make sure.
That's your friends in the big building respecting local local authors. You're recognized for a question.
Yes. Well, I know that says preventing.
Hey, let me correct the record. Justice Blackwood, you're recognized.
Thank you
for the question.
That says preventing, right?
I'm sorry?
That what he stated was what she quoted from
That
Tim
municipal
Griffin.
governments,
Cannot
county
prevent.
government, they cannot prevent.
Right.
Correct.
What this is a moratorium. This is just to get it out to the public, to get them to look at it, to get them. It's not a prevention. It's not against having the data center. It's just
You have a
moratorium.
far greater appreciation to the word moratorium than I appear to have. I think that a moratorium is putting a stop to something.
Well, we put a 12-month limit on it, so it wasn't a stop. We have a 12-month limit in here. So that is not a stop, and that's not a prevention. Can you tell me if that's a prevention by saying a 12-month limit?
I think you're going to get sued if you pass it.
And do you think, I mean, that's your opinion, correct?
Ma'am.
Okay. And, but can we, okay, I yield. But we're not putting a stop to this. We are just putting a moratorium on it.
Mr. Stowers, you were had a question.
Thank you, sir. My understanding was that there was an amendment tonight. Is that on the table? I didn't see it when I arrived here.
It's here.
It's here on my desk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would like to make a motion, a substitute motion that we adopt the amendment to this item.
Second.
So,
and I can expound more on that if needed.
Just hang on. So I think, Mr. Parliamentarian, there's nothing wrong with a motion to amend during debate. Actually, it's customary. So you've heard the motion, you've heard the second. Mr. So does Madam Clerk have a copy of that amendment? Madam Clerk, will you please read the amendment for us?
Certainly. An ordinance imposing a temporary moratorium on the acceptance, processing, approval of applications for the development, construction, or siting of data centers within the unincorporated areas of Pulaski County. This looks like the same thing I just read.
It is. As amended. This is amended. This is what moratorium means.
It's amendment 1.
Do you have underlined language on the sheet you have, Madam Clerk?
Yes.
So that's the amendment they want you to read out loud.
Where it says grandfathering, Article 8.
Grandfathering, the ordinance shall not apply to projects that have exceeded binding utility interconnection agreements, or have received final county approvals, or have submitted complete interconnection application and received preliminary utility study acceptance prior to the effective date of this ordinance.
Judge, do I still have the floor, sir?
So we have a motion, we have a second, and we have the amendment that's been read. I think I'm halfway on track on this. Are there any questions or discussion on the amendment?
I have a question.
Point of order. Yes, ma'am.
You said, are there any questions? I said I had a question.
Oh, okay. Would you pull your mic up? You're soft spoken and I'm really
Sorry.
hard of hearing.
Yes. So I read the amendment. It's already in the ordinance. So why are we having it amended? Because it's like on the page, it's word for word already in the ordinance. So what is being added? It's the same thing. It's already in there. It's on the, well, I have it in front of me, but.
You're looking at the ordinance. If it's already in there, then I guess you don't want to make the amendment. I don't know what to tell you. It's not my amendment.
Judge, after you
You're
recognize
recognized.
me, am I? Do I still have the opportunity to speak?
Yeah, I just said you're recognized.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So this is to grandfather in the project that has already been in the pipeline for 2.5 to 3 years. And I can only speak for myself. I can support the 1-year moratorium if we grandfather in Avio, and I know I butchered your name, so as a company, but if we could grandfather them in, that's what this ordinance, or excuse me, this amendment is, and what it would do, that would allow us time then to put a moratorium on any new developments of data centers over the next 12 months. I think that something we need to keep in mind was, and those of you who have been around this community for a long time are aware of this. In 1973, Fred Smith in Pulaski County in the city of Little Rock to place FedEx Corporation in Little Rock, using a lot of the same arguments we've heard here tonight related to impact on utilities and infrastructure. Community rejected FedEx. And Fred Smith took FedEx to Memphis, where it remains the largest private employer in Shelby County. This is a once in a generational economic development opportunity. And I fear we're going to cut off our nose to spite our face, just like we did with FedEx. So here's what could happen. A couple of things. One is the company that's already invested millions of dollars, Avio, into their project, could come after us as a county for financial liability. It's also patently unfair for a company that's been in the pipeline for 2.5 to 3 years and have been through the process. They've crossed their T's, they've crossed their I's with our planning department, with the Public Service Commission, and yet to say, hey, we're asking you to put a 12-month hold on your project. Well, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to sue our butts off. And number two, if I'm them, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my project and take it to Lonoke County, where they can get water off the river or wherever they decide to go. Number two, to that regard, is that Pulaski County would be blacklisted by anything to do with what is the future, no doubt, based on the stock market, based on everything else that we see in the news. The future is AI. The future is data centers. And I'm sorry, I have the floor. And what we will be doing is cutting off our nose to spite our face, because every other company that looks at Pulaski County like Fred Smith did in 1973 and was told to go elsewhere, they will go elsewhere. And other counties and their school districts, other counties and their school districts and their local governments will benefit from the employment and from the economic development of these projects. So that's why I'm proposing this amendment this evening as a compromise, as something that is a bridge. Avio, however you say it, they've been through the process. I think we need to grandfather them in with the amendment, and then we need to pass the ordinance as amended that gives 2 data centers here in Pulaski County, one in Little Rock at the port, Google, and then the Avio project down on the south part of the county. That will give us 12 months. That will give planning and zoning plenty of time to come up with rules, regulations to guide us forward. And so that is the purpose of submitting the amendment. It is a compromise. I'm trying to bring us together to where we can say, hey, we're going to stop any new development of data centers, but for those that are already in process. And by the way, my understanding is, and somebody can correct me, but my understanding is even though Mayor Scott has come forward with some rules and regulations, ordinances, resolutions, that the Google data center at the port would be grandfathered in. So all I'm asking on behalf of this company that has spent a heck of a lot of time, they've spent a heck of a lot of money to invest in this community. All I'm asking is that we don't cut their knees out from underneath them. I yield, Judge.
Thank you. Any other questions on the amendment, or can we get to the vote?
To the vote on the amendment.
Being none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the adoption of the amendment for ordinance 26I-37. Yeah, I still got that.
Ms. Davis.
No.
Ms. Capps.
No.
Ms. Lewison.
No.
Ms. Blackwood.
No.
Mr. Person. Mr. Person.
I have questions, but present.
No.
Ms. Curry.
Aye.
Mr. Keith.
Yes.
Ms. Ward.
No.
Ms. Young Baker.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Aye.
Mr. McCoy.
Yes.
Mr. Stowers.
Yes.
Mr. Elliott.
Yes.
Ms. Medlock.
Oh my God. 57.
8 ayes, 6 nays, 1 present.
So the amendment to the ordinance is passed. It takes 8 votes, a majority, to pass the amendment. Now we're back to discussion or debate on the ordinance as amended. Is everybody clear on that? Clear as mud.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Judge?
I said
Debate
now.
on the
So we have passed the amendment, and the amendment is now part of the ordinance. It's now the ordinance as amended.
Right.
And so now we are back at discussion of the ordinance, but it's as amended. You're recognized, Mr. Person.
Mr. Attorney, County Attorney. Question. Given state law, how much teeth does this really have? What is it actually doing?
Well, I think the moratorium would prohibit any additional data centers for that 12-month period. But I think the grandfather clause, the intent is that if it's already started, it wouldn't be subject to the moratorium. I don't think it cures the problem that I have with this particular legislation, but I think it certainly helps.
Got it. That's all I need to know. Thank you.
Justice Blackwood, you're recognized.
Yes, and since you said that moratorium means to stop or ban, since that was your opinion, so you think that even now with the amendment added to it, that means we're going to ban all data centers in
No, I said specifically the two that are already ongoing would be grandfathered in. It would apply to new additional data centers.
No, when I asked you a minute ago about the moratorium, you said that means to ban. It did not. You said we had very different views on what moratorium meant,
yes.
And you said it meant to ban. So now that we've got this new one listed, why would that not consider us banning all?
It would be for new projects. You would be stopping new projects, not old projects.
Anything besides.
Right. But for 12 months, right? Correct. For 12 months, it's a temporary. Correct. Okay. That's where I wanted to get it because you were stating that it meant to ban last time, like it meant to ban completely all data centers, and that's not what we were doing at all. We were just having a moratorium. So I was trying to get the correct what you were saying. Thank you.
Anyone else with a non-working light that wants to speak? Ms. Curry, you're recognized.
Attorney Kemp, I want to ask, even though we have the amendment with the added to not to stop the already applicants that are in process, where would we stand with it stating in the state law that we don't have the jurisdiction?
I don't believe you do, ma'am. I believe that I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand that.
I believe that Arkansas law provides, as the AG identified in that opinion that you quoted earlier, that you lack the authority to regulate data centers in the way that you're proposing to do so in this legislation.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, Lord have mercy. I yield.
Justice Ward, you're recognized.
Okay. So this, what we have, it says you have requested my opinion. So this is an opinion, right?
That is correct. It's an opinion of the Attorney General of the state of Arkansas.
His opinion.
It's illegal.
Okay. Anyone else? Justice Robinson, you recognized for a comment.
Thank you, Judge. So I guess my question is the hang up in, I got to find it again. I'm sorry. Is the hang up like Article 3? Because Article 3 gives, I guess, this body the power, I guess, to extend it. We can repeal it. But, I mean, if you extend 12 months, another 12 months, or another 24 months, or another 12 months, is that, I mean, in your legal advice, which I'm not an attorney, I'm not going to pretend to be one, is that the holdup, is the ability to keep extending this?
I'm not sure I understand. I don't think that's what.
Well, if you the data center.
So the
Article 23.
The two laws that are at issue in this are the Arkansas Data Centers Act of 2023 and then a 2024 legislation called the Digital Asset Mining Businesses. And it specifically, in both laws, permits the construction of data centers in Arkansas. And while you can regulate them, what you can't do, as the AG says in the opinion, is ban them altogether. And I think that's what the moratorium would do. And that's why I'm concerned that we'd end up in litigation.
He's the county attorney. He's legally obligated to.
I'm pushing my line.
So would it be more advantageous if we changed Article 3 to where we didn't have the ability to extend it another 12 months, to where it really would be just a set amount of time to give the planning department their ability to come up with said regulations, which I think this is all they're trying to do. I don't want to speak for them, but trying to come up with some type of regulations, which we've already given them 90 days.
I don't think Article 3 is the issue here or the problem that I see with the legislation.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I yield. So let me step in here. This is the county attorney. He is legally obligated to give you his advice on an issue that he thinks may create a legal problem or doesn't create a legal problem. Arguing with him to get him to change his mind it doesn't go anywhere. It's the county attorney's legal opinion. He's given it to you. That's it's up to you whether you follow your attorney's opinion or you don't. Just like in any other engagement with an attorney. Justice Davis, you have something?
Yes, sir. I'm a little worried when the county attorney thinks that this moratorium is a ban. It's not a ban. It's just a pause to say, hey, get the regulations.
So I'm a little worried when we criticize, he's just doing his job. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. If you don't agree with that opinion, then don't take the advice and vote however you'd like to vote. But he is obligated as the county attorney. He is, in fact, your attorney. And he's offering you his opinion, which he's obligated to do. And now you're obligated to either take it or ignore it and go about, what you're going to do. Does that make sense?
Yes, mine wasn't a question for you. It was more of like a statement to the other JPs who were voting that that moratorium wasn't a ban. It was just a pause. So that was all I yield. Thank you.
Justice Baker Young Baker.
Baker Young.
So just for clarity, Hamilton.
Will you pull the microphone to you?
Based on the Attorney General's opinion, your advice to us is that this ordinance is basically not appropriate for us to pass because it goes against what the Attorney General is saying.
That in Arkansas law, yes.
Okay. I yield.
You might get sued and you might lose, or you might not.
I yield.
Justice Medlock?
That kind of goes along with my question. The way that it is.
I'm having a hard time hearing with all the comments that are coming from behind us.
Thank you.
So the way that it is written, we don't have the power to do that, basically.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. I yield.
And so I'll ask. We're probably going to miss the news tonight altogether. So please, if you have a conversation to be had, step out in the hallway and have it. There's enough distraction and confusion and tired people. So please respect the process and remain quiet. Justice, you're recognized.
Mr. Kemp, who do you believe is the regulating body regarding this issue? If it's not us, who then?
The Arkansas Oil and Gas Commission. That's who issues the permit. as provided in the code sections. So the authorization comes from the Oil and Gas Commission, and that's who issues the permit.
Okay, I yield.
Okay, thank you.
Justice Capps, you're recognized.
Thank you. So I have concerns about the legality and voting for something that is not legal. This is I fully supported the moratorium. It feels like a good solution, but I'm now concerned if it's considered illegal. I think we've had a good conversation tonight about hearing from the different entities. I appreciate their input on whatever their internal regulation. And I would like to think that this body is still really committed to try and push some external regulation through ordinances and things like that, as is in our purview, as well as land use passage. So I'm very concerned about this. I want to address these. I think there's a lot of mistrust between data centers and the community, and having some regulatory issues in place so that it's not just them regulating themselves, but in fact there's a backstop is an important step. But I am similarly concerned about something being legal. So I just want to put it out there that I think, at least from my perspective, I think a lot on this body remains very concerned about addressing this issue. I'll yield.
Anyone else wants to take a bite at this apple?
I have one more thing. I'm sorry.
Justice Medlock, you're recognized.
So if with it amended, we're grandfathering what's in place. So going forward, we are simply saying we need regulations in place, correct? And those regulations, we're giving the planning board 12 months to define those particular regulations. Am I understanding that correctly?
You're thinking about it the wrong way. I think it's partly accurate, but it's also true to say that you're stopping any new data center or digital asset.
Well, okay, so I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but if I'm understanding, not necessarily, it's just saying they have to go through the regulations that are put into place in the next 12 months.
I don't think that's right. For 12 months, you will not have a new one. There isn't going to be a process. But you're correct, ma'am, that you would have grandfathered in those projects that have already started.
Okay, I yield.
Justice Stowers, you're recognized for
Judge Hyde. I'll be brief, sir.
It doesn't matter at this point.
Well, I will be very brief. So we sent, I believe it was 2 resolutions and 2 ordinances back to planning at our agenda meeting for study and consideration, and we asked them to turn around recommendations within 90 days. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And so the moratorium's for a year. Let's just say that in 9 months, that planning and zoning have had all the public hearings, everybody's given input, we've all come together and as a community and figured out how we can do this together. And then let's say that this body passed at that point in time. We could go back and say, okay, now we've got the rules, regulations in place.
You're absolutely right.
And so we could, if needed, in other words, we could reduce the time frame of the moratorium, or we could increase it. This body could.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. But it's illegal.
I don't see any more hands waving.
I got a question. I want to be here later.
That's right.
Who else can stay here?
Justice Robinson, you're recognized.
So if let's say that this ordinance as amended fails, that the majority, whatever, votes, and does it go back to the original and we'll have to vote on it as well, or does it? So if this, as amended, if it fails, then it fails. Thank you. I yield. I'm now done.
I think everybody's had their say. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll for item 26I-37 as amended?
As amended. Justice.
Everyone understand what they're voting on?
Yes.
I think so.
Okay. Call the roll, please.
Medlock.
I'm not going to be confused.
Mr. Elliott. Mr. Stowers.
Yes.
Mr. McCoy.
Present.
Mr. Robinson.
No.
Ms. Young Baker.
No.
Ward.
Present.
Mr. Keith.
No.
Ms. Curry.
No.
Ms. Massey.
Aye.
Mr. Person.
Yes.
Ms. Blackwood.
Aye.
Ms. Lewison.
Yes.
Ms. Capps. Ms. Davis.
Yes.
Ten ayes, 2 noes. I'm sorry, 4 noes, 1 present.
Ordinance 26I-37 as amended is passed. And get back to my agenda.
We have the jurisdiction. We have it.
All right. Madam Clerk, you should have a second ordinance that was a late filing. And I'm sorry, it's a resolution. It's not an ordinance, but it was a late filing. It's 26I-38. It's in your packet, if you all. It is really just a resolution needed for a grant application that's come in at the 11th hour, as happens from time to time.
You ready for me to read it?
Yeah. I didn't.
Please read it.
Resolution of the Quorum Court of Pulaski County to utilize federal aid transportation alternatives program or recreational trails program funds.
Who is the sponsor on that, Madam Clerk?
Justice Massey.
Justice Massey, you're recognized for a motion.
I move for the adoption.
Second.
Members, you've heard the motion, you've heard the second. Are there any questions concerning Resolution 26I-38? There being none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll for the adoption of Resolution 26I-38.
Ms. Davis.
Yes.
Ms. Capps.
Aye.
Lewison.
Yes.
Ms. Blackwood.
Aye.
Mr. Person.
Yes.
Massey. Ms. Curry.
Aye.
Mr. Keith.
Yes.
Ms. Ward. Ms. Young Baker.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson. Mr. McCoy.
Yes.
Stowers. Mr. Elliott.
Yes.
Ms. Medlock. 14 ayes, 1 absent.
Ms. Massey, you've passed your late filed resolution. Congratulations. And members, that concludes the business portion of our meeting. Are there any?
Judge Hyde, I'd like to make my motion at the appropriate time.
You're recognized for a motion.
I'd like to make a motion of censure to Justice Phil Stowers.
Second.
Members, you've heard the motion, you've heard the second. Is there any explanation?
Thank you, Judge. There's been some incidences where Mr. Stowers, who's a dear friend of mine, I've known him for almost 2 decades now, but regardless of that friendship, there's been some things that he has done that I think's inappropriate, breaks decorum when it comes to communications with other justices of the peace and also members of the public. And so for that matter, I'd appreciate a good vote we need to keep decorum here, and I think it's appropriate that we adopt this motion. Thank you.
Any other comment? Madam Clerk, please call the roll. One question, Mr. Parliamentarian. How many votes does it take to pass a censure?
It's a majority of the body, so 8 votes.
So 8 votes, and what is the ramifications of a censure if it passes?
There was no penalty attached to it. It's just an admonishment by the body.
Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll for the censure motion.
Ms. Matlock.
Present.
Mr. Elliott.
No.
Mr. McCoy.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Aye.
Ms. Young Baker.
Yes.
Ms. Ward.
Present.
Keith.
Yes.
Present.
Ms. Massey.
No.
Mr. Person.
No.
Ms. Blackwood.
Aye.
Ms. Lewison.
Yes.
Capps.
Aye.
Davis.
Yes.
Eight ayes, 3 nays, 3 present, and 1 absent.
Give me that count again.
8 yes, 3 noes, 3 present, 1 absent.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Justice McCoy, your censure of Justice Stowers is approved.
Thank you.
Do we have any other late filings, amendeds, or not? No more tricks. Okay. Members, that brings us to announcements. That's announcements here at the bar. Does anyone have any announcements? The news did just start, by the way. I'm just saying. This side, any announcements from anybody here at the bar? Great. That takes us to public comment. We have a healthy stack. Remind folks that the limit on public comment is 3 minutes. Tony Orr. Is Tony Orr here?
He's right there.
Regina Norwood.
I think that's Mr. Orr coming.
Oh. Are you Mr. Orr?
Tony.
Okay. Yeah, Mr. Orr, you're recognized to make your public comment, and you have a 3-minute time limit on those. Go ahead, sir.
Good morning.
Pretty close.
Pretty close to morning.
As a resident of Pulaski County, always, I entrust. I believe that all of you are here to look out for me. Not just me, but the people who live in my community. When that trust is in doubt, when it becomes uncertain, I think me and my community start to wonder. Tonight I heard all the tech, all the promises, all the contracts, all this stuff tonight. But at the end of the day, it's all about money. That's what it's about. Yeah. Sometimes as resident, I don't think you care about me. You don't care about the air I breathe, the water I drink, the food I ate. You want to build a data center. Do you know all the construction dust, all the noise that that's going to create. But at the end of the day, I'm just a number. I got a dollar sign on me. And we want people to come in and sell us. Because that's all a data center is doing being built. You selling me. Do you care about me? You care about my vote. But do you care about me? And so when I'm talking to you, I'm not talking to all of you. Some of you made great arguments. But at the end of the day, the ask that pump your brakes. Let's check this thing out. And you voted. No, we ain't gonna check nothing. We moving forward. Because energy, Central Arkansas water, it's money to be made. And we are the ATM. That's all I got to say. I hope and I pray that I'm somebody to this quorum court. That we are somebody. We already being stomped on. If you want to build a data center, take it out to Chenal. Build it out there. Build it out the Pinnacle Valley. Build it in the Heights. Take it over to Kavanaugh.
Yeah, that's right.
See how that goes over.
Come to Otter
Instead
Creek.
of building it in a place that's already marginalized. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Orr.
you.
Safe travels home. Is Regina Norwood here?
I am, but I yield my time.
Thank you, ma'am. Safe travels home for you, too. Brenda Henson.
I was going to yield, but I think I'll take my time. Good evening, and thank you for my 3 minutes.
Would you pull the microphone down toward you a little bit? Thank you, ma'am.
I'm Brenda Henson. I'm a resident of Pulaski County.
Turn it on.
For your time.
It's on.
I don't know. It says it's green.
No, it's on.
You're good. It's on.
Well, I didn't push it. It was already green.
You're good.
But anyway, thank you for my time. I just have a couple of things I want to lift up. Much of it has already been said. But there are 3 concerns that are priorities for me as a county resident: health, education, and public safety. And I recently learned, and I've been coming for a few years yet, and this one always comes up. I understand you have a hiring freeze. And I understand it goes across the board. Well, all of you who live in the city, you have the Little Rock Police Department. I have the Pulaski County Sheriff's Department. And since I've been coming forever, no long before I even started coming, there's always been a shortage. And somehow or another, you feel that it's public safety, it's okay to have a hiring freeze in the Pulaski County Sheriff's Department. That might work for you. It does not count me as a taxpaying county resident that I'm important and my public safety is important. When it comes to budgeting, public safety should have its own budget that is fixed, in my opinion. And I worked in the corporate world, and there were certain things that was going to be paid no matter what. Public safety was one of them.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Brooke Butler. Is Brooke Butler here?
It's cute.
Are you an architect? No. You have handwriting, printing like an architect. It's very neat.
Thank you for everything tonight. I would just like to extend my thoughts on the moratorium. I think that I would like to see it outside of the unincorporated parts of Pulaski County. And I would have liked to see it having to not have these grandfathered in ones, especially considering as was just said, public safety. We don't know necessarily exactly how many diesel generators are going to be at that Google facility out near Sweet Home, but a lot of these industrial generators are the size of a train car. These are ginormous, huge generators. And in order to run these generators, they require having a lot of diesel on hand. And so generally for a data center of around 100 megawatt hours, they are going to need about 100,000 gallons of diesel fuel on site. So this 100,000 gallons of diesel fuel that is on site, if there is a fire, which are fairly frequent with data centers, is the Sweet Home volunteer fire department capable of putting out a fire that is fueled by 100,000 gallons of diesel fuel, as well as all of the electrical components that are involved? That's just something that I am concerned about. And I would like to extend that knowledge out to people to think about who are going to, is capable of putting out those kind of fires, and if those resources are there available. And I'll yield after that.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Magdalene Jones or James,
She's the one in the elevator. She's so nice.
welcome.
Hello.
I want to thank the Pulaski County Quorum Court members for bringing forth these resolutions and ordinances to protect the constituents of Pulaski County, especially those of us that will be directly impacted by these data centers. I came here today as a fellow Arkansan, a STEM professional, but most importantly as a concerned member of the community, as I reside in College Station, and I'm located just 5 miles away from the $4 billion data center that is going to be built in Sweet Home. As someone who's 9 to 5 is working as a data management IT application developer, and someone who has a passion for technology, I am very familiar with data as well as the rise of AI. It was just a few months ago that I had a request from one of my end users on wanting to implement an AI agent with the platform I develop and support. In the past year alone, I have witnessed how AI has not only impacted our personal lives, but in our corporate lives, our jobs, our government, and even our military, with it all being driven by business and big tech. It's everywhere, and it's happening too fast. But what is also making waves and has been mentioned already tonight is how these data centers destroy the communities they are placed in. Every single data center has had an impact on surrounding environment, notably the air quality, noise pollution, groundwater, and waste production. That is a fact. It is impossible for that to not be the case, considering the sheer amount of resources they take to function on a day-to-day basis. And that is why we have been here tonight talking about public pledges and contracts, because we all know what comes with these data centers. I reviewed the Little Rock Data Center's website, and I'm appreciative of Energy and Central Arkansas Water and the Little Rock Regional Chamber for attempting to put all information in one central location, but it did not lower my concerns. Reading about Google's and Energy's public pledge does not give me comfort, because a public pledge is not going to protect any of us or hold anyone accountable. Regulation does that. Big tech has predominantly placed these data centers in vulnerable communities due to cheap land and resources. I have lived in College Station my entire life. My mother has lived in College Station her entire life. My family has spent 4 generations in College Station, and there has not been anything even remotely close to the money that is being spent on these data centers that has gone into that community, into Wrightsville, and into Sweet Home. At what cost is Arkansas's economy worth our community being impacted when there couldn't even be transparency to begin with? I don't care about the economy. I don't care about booming business. I don't care about the odd 30 to 100 people that these data centers are going to employ. I don't care about the fact that this is the largest monetary contract Arkansas has likely seen in its history. Especially considering that Sweet Home, Wrightsville, and College Station won't really see a decent fraction of that money, especially considering the tax breaks that Google and Avio have received. I know earlier it was mentioned that $24 million would go into Pulaski County School District. I just want to call out that that's not even 1% of the $8 billion that has been put into these data centers. It's like 0.3%.
Try and wrap it up, please.
Huh?
Try and wrap it up.
Tonight, concerns were brought regarding billing and money, which is important, but no one has mentioned at the moment that these data centers are built and are up and running, that the land that they're on can no longer be used for farmland. It can no longer be used for nature or housing due to the irreversible damage that they do on the soil on top of whatever infrastructure that we plan on spending. There have been studies conducted that data centers could contribute to over 1/3 of asthma deaths by 2030. That is not fear mongering. That is a statistic from the researchers at EHP, Environmental Health Project, a nonprofit public health organization that's committed to studying the impacts of these industries.
Ma'am, I really appreciate your comments, but the 3 minutes time allotted for each person is way up.
I understand that, but let me just wrap up with this. I will be participating in any public meetings that will be taking place, and I'm looking forward to learning all that I can regarding about these data centers. But at the end of the day, this is my life, my family, my friends, my community. We live here. This is our life. This is very real. And I appreciate all that y'all do for us. And I hope and I pray that we can find a way to do more. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, ma'am. Brad Spradlin. Brad Spradlin here. Bill Rochelle. Bill Rochelle.
Gone.
Katie Kornreich. Katie Kornreich.
She's gone. Gone.
Tom Nessel has already spoken. Alicia Watson. Is Alicia Watson still here? Is Christy Eanes still here? Good evening, Miss Eanes. You know the drill for 3 minutes. Please help us.
Yes, sir. Good evening. I had 2 comment cards, so should I combine my comments at this time for both of the items that I had wanted to comment on?
Ma'am, I would, in the interest of time and
Yes.
the time of night it is.
Yes.
I
Okay.
would take my 3 minutes and.
All right. Sure. So we voters had wanted this body to reject the quarterly meetings compromise, which won't contain the entirety of county business. The only people speaking in favor of that was the planning board and the staff. The voters were against it, so I'm kind of disappointed that you voted with the bureaucracy. Also today, the commission voted to combine the quarterly meetings with the first public hearing for data centers. And I don't know if that's something you intended, but they also seemed kind of surprised that they were going to have to meet an extra 4 times. So they're trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. The other thing I wanted to comment on was the data centers. And I'm an IT professional for over 30 years, and I'm not against technology, but I do think that it's time for a timeout. The community has lots of questions, and our community has people that we would like to ask those questions. I am glad that the moratorium passed, but I was not for that amendment because that does a disservice to the people that these data centers are going to be impacting now. We do believe that the potential impact of data centers on electric rates in central Arkansas is one of the most important problems. Based on the legislation passed in 2025, Entergy can begin charging ratepayers for new capacity without getting full approval from the Public Service Commission. A data center's main need for water is cooling, and there is no reason why the local infrastructure should be used to provide potable water for cooling a data center. Treated wastewater can easily be used as is in many cooling applications. And also, large data centers with large evaporative cooling systems could cause some microclimate changes around the center and could extend for several miles. Those are just some of the concerns, and sometimes I feel like a human battery in the Pulaski County matrix. The need for our money, land, electricity, water, and we have no seat at the table. So I think that outsized water and electricity use by data centers are the reason enough to establish the common sense guardrails, and the perpetual daylight and harmful noise scientifically studied to negatively impact health. It's unfortunate that people are going to have to live next to these facilities. I wouldn't want to live next to one.
Please try and wrap it up.
Okay, thank you. So the temporary moratorium on data centers is good, but the amendment is rejected. Please listen to the needs of your voters going forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Safe travels home. Is Terry Drennan here? Hello, Ms. Drennan.
Hello, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I feel like this moratorium was taken very, very seriously by all of you, and I very much appreciate that. I'm sad about the amendment being added to it. All I heard from the people on this side of the room tonight was money, 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 money. And I'm going to tell you something. My sister lives in Rockwall, Texas, and in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, there's somewhere around 160 to 200 data centers. And over the last 3 years, her electric bill has gone from around $200 to $300 a month to she's real happy if her electric bill is $1,000 in a 2,500 square foot house every single month. I feel like, and I say this every time I'm in front of this body, Arkansas is the natural state. And tonight I heard natural state be damned. Money, money, money. And I'm really, really sad. And where was the transparency before? Why were there no public meetings when this was all in front of the planning board? Why were we not told then? This room was full tonight. All across the United States, people are rising up. The people of the United States don't want these data centers. The people of Arkansas don't want these data centers. When he builds his building and he goes away, he has his renters, he's gone. He doesn't care what's left. We're what's left, and our property and the wildlife and nature, the natural state. And if I have any time left, I would like to yield it to Judge Griffin. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Drennan. Chris Centofonte.
Good evening, judges. Thank you so much for your time on this whole thing with the data centers. It's a big thing, and it's something that really should not be rushed. It needs to take time. I'm happy that it passed. I did not like the part that was added to it with the grandfathering in. First, they said it was only one, and then all of a sudden it was two that were being grandfathered in. And yes, I feel that it's been a big disservice to the people of Pulaski County not to have any transparency, not to know what's going on. I mean, when you build a property, now you have to be notified. There are things, there are protocols. There is nothing with these data centers. We know nothing. It's been in the works for 3 years now, and we don't know anything about it. And I think that is a travesty. And another thing that I'm upset about, and I'm president of Pinnacle Mountain Community Coalition, and our people wrote a petition because we want the meetings to be changed so people can be there. I mean, what is it if you can't be there and protect your property and know what's coming in your backyard? And to leave it to quarterly meetings will not address this problem for us. So thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to us. We appreciate what you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Santafonte. Safe travels home. Ms. Scully.
Thank you for allowing me to speak, Judge.
You're welcome.
Thank you guys for your time and service to Pulaski County. If the goal is to maximize public participation and transparency, why are we recommending and drafting ordinances to have quarterly meetings? It seems like we're catering to developers, in my opinion. I didn't hear not one justice ask the companies the name of their investors. That's important information for the public to know.
They did ask.
I did. Julie did.
Yeah, none
Did you? I didn't hear that.
It was asked.
Okay, I apologize. You guys need to ask them to list their investors. We have a right to know that. You should want to know that. Item 26I 28, Ordinance 26I-28. It has a listing there of an ordinance amending Ordinance 25 OR 52 to appropriate road and bridge funds for various projects. We don't know the projects. That can be anything. You guys know the projects. If we're going to have this type of ordinance listed, we have a right to know what those funds are being used for. What are those projects? Because we certainly don't want another bike trail out in District 10. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gully. Safe travels home. Mr. Griffin, you're up now.
That's it. I'm leaving.
Thank you, Judge Hyde. Good evening, everyone. In 1872, Lewis Carroll wrote a book, Looking Through the Looking Glass, and he quoted this line: "When I use a word, it means just what I want it to mean, neither more nor less. The question," said Alice, "is whether you can make words mean so many things. The question is," said Humpty Dumpty, "which is to be master. That's all. When I use a word, it means what I want it to mean." The word moratorium has a common meaning. It does not mean stop. It doesn't mean ban. It has never meant ban. It means delay, pause, cool your jets. You heard a lawyer tell you that a word means something that no dictionary says it means. Black's Law Dictionary has a word definition of moratorium. It doesn't say ban. I've read the cases of Arkansas. No Arkansas case says a moratorium means ban. So a lawyer can tell you something and be wrong. Now, that's okay, but when you base your legal action on what the lawyer tells you, and then you make an exception to one private party for the world, that wrong becomes a lawsuit. Congratulations, you just made a legislative record to allow any taxpayer in this county to sue any permit that's issued for Avio, because you have given Avio, the only company in the world, an exception from regulation, after saying you want to have regulation for every other subject. Congratulations, lawsuit coming.
All right. Sounds good. Will do.
Members, without objection, we're adjourned.
Yeah. You lost your shoe. I was going to see if you were looking.
Folks, want me to chit chat?
I didn't vote for it. Why are you here?
Well, folks, I'm going to have to turn this off. It's about bedtime for me. I'll try to listen to some of this tomorrow and then give some comments about it and what else is going on. But y'all feel free to share this, add any more comments to it. Looks like I got about 3 hours worth of footage of all kinds of stuff. I heard that one of the justices of the peace was actually censured for some of his comments, but I'll have to look back into it. Anyway, when the righteous rule, the people rejoice. So you have a say in that. And then go ahead and sign off.